So today I'd like to talk about how old is really the Earth. And this has been debated for the last centuries, I believe. And there's two main opinions on this that came out, the two main opinions. One is the creationist, which they believe is a young Earth, about 6,000 years old. And what evolutionists believe, like the Big Bang Theory, that happened about 4.6 billion years ago. So the Christians believe, most of them, about the Christian Bible and how Adam and all the way to Jesus, they can relate back to about 75 generations between that. And we know from, if you take, for example, we'll say about 50 years in between father and son and stuff like that. And it might be more, it might be less, It's just a good medium age depending on the time era. We get about 3,750. Now we times that by 2,000, so that gives us about 5,750. That is really close to 6,000 years old of what the creationists believe is a young Earth. Now, Big Bang Theory, like I said before, thinks about 4.6 billion years. And life started millions and millions and millions years after that, at 3.5 billion years it started. Now, that's okay and everything, but one of the big problems is coming up recently is they're finding different, like a dinosaur fossil that they believe is millions and million years old with having genetic life into it. Now, if the genetic life with that was billions and millions years old, it would not have the blood would be fossilized. So that puts a damper in what evolutionists believe. And also another is the population. Ever since the beginning of man, no matter if it's famines or everything, the population increases pretty rapidly. So if we're from back then, like billions of years ago, doing the calculations, we should be pretty much living on top of each other right now and not even have any space, because if you multiply the growth that's happened even in the last few years and just multiply it by billions of years, that would just be nearly impossible. Now, for the creationist side, like I said, like 4,400 years ago, there was a big flood, and only 8 people survived. And we take those 8 people and we start multiplying with current growth and geographic location, everything like that. We find that it's about the same of what the population we have now. And another reason is that it's really big for evolution is carbon-14. Now, carbon-14 is how they date what's worse, bones and everything like that, and skeletons and stuff like that. And the video I saw by Pedrolinton that says on a young age clearly states that carbon-14 does not work. He used many examples from rocks, bones they found that they say it was a couple of million years old and it was been only in the ground for 50 years, and just like other different stuff. And they just proved that carbon-14 does not work, and many scientists are coming out now saying it just their guesstimate and everything, and carbon-14 does not really truly work in a way. So let's go back to the evolution side. If stuff from billions and billions and billions of years ago, there should be some living organism, right, that could live that long. I mean, look at the redwood trees. I mean, they survive disease, famine, stuff like that. I mean, if that's true, shouldn't they be billions and billions and years old, at least, maybe a couple million years old. Well, surprisingly or not, we only have the oldest living thing we found on this earth is a bristlecone pine, and that dates back from 4,300 years ago. I know. Hold on. When did the big flood happen? That's right. 4,400 years ago. So you see a correlation? When new life starts, it starts forming 100 years later, 4,300, couple million. I mean, there's quite a bit of difference if you say. I mean, there's, maybe between 100 years difference compared a million difference. Definitely a big difference. And also, the redwood trees are pretty close to 4,000. They average about 4,000 years old. So, and also, let's talk about the uniqueness of Earth. And we are very fortunate to have a special and really unique planet Earth. Some of the unique things about our Earth is we could have living organisms actually breathing and actually living. It's very rare to find anything like that ever around here. In the Privileged Planet, it really tells you a lot about how special our Earth is and how much we need to be responsible and use it wisely. There's a lot of components that make up our planet, and some of them are basically what we need to have is we must maintain a habitable zone orbiting a main square of a G2 dwarf star. We need to be protected by gas giant planets. We need to have be within a habitable zone. We need to have a circular orbit, an oxygen-rich atmosphere. We need to have the correct mass for our planet. We need to be orbited by a large moon to keep us on a 23.5 degree tilt, because if we go out of tilt, our seasons change and everything messes up like that. Magnetic field, plate tectonics, basically that's what renews our land and keeps our land healthy. Ratio between liquid water on our planets and so on. We can't be too far from the sun, or we would all freeze to death, and there'd be no life and nothing would grow. If we're too far, all the UAV rays would just burst through, and we would there would be a big greenhouse effect, and we would die, basically, in a sense. So our Earth is very, very, very special to us, and we need to treat it more wisely. If we put all the factors I said plus a little more together that it says in the movie, The Privileged Planet, there is at least 16 different things that we need to have to be to live on a planet or have life. So we'll just give each section 1/10 of a power to each one. So when you come up with that, and 1 in 10 by 15th power, that's how much it takes for Earth to survive, or any other planet for us to survive on. So that's 1 in 10 in the 15th power. So that is just basically 1/10 with 15 zeros on it. It's simply amazing how much it takes. And like they said, it's very unlikely, highly improbable that the Earth just formed. They credit to some intelligent design or something like that. So, but the Earth is very special, and we have to understand why it's special, I think, more than anything. And I think that's what we're really lacking, is saying how special it is.